What did we watch this week?
The best show.
By the best, you mean the most boring show that is somehow a mashup of Batman and Leonardo DiCaprio's Oscar-winning film, The Revenant.
Nailed it. We watched Wynonna Earp. Wynonna.
Wynonna, why?
Bars and Stone Walls of Season 2, Episode 1, because why should we know anything about anything when we watch something?
And here's the thing. So I did have to do some research because I was very confused. I think they went into second season of the show knowing, well, if you're still here, you already know what's going on.
I think that's a fair assumption.
Because I had to look up, apparently, Wynonna Earp she's from the town of Purgatory.
Great name. Classic name.
Not at all on the nose. And she lives there, or she didn't live there for a long time, and she came back, and then she had to take up...
She's a college girl now, and she's a college girl slayer.
She spent a decade in the big city, but now she's back.
You know what? This made me think of a lot of, like, Buffy. And, like,
yes.
They were, like, really shooting for that. Because
yes.
Buffy is a pretty fun time.
Yeah.
And I think they were just like, we could get another niche. Buffy's gone.
I mean, Joss Whedon, I think, is a real creep, but he did a good job with that show. Mm-hmm. I think in the characters and the writing.
Yeah.
This does not happen with
Sadly,
Wynonna.
Yeah.
And that is how they pronounce it, Wynonna, because... I don't know.
Why?
I guess because Wynonna Ryder was threatening to sue. She was busy with Stranger Things. Mm-hmm. She's back in town, and she has to take up the mantle as heir to, you guessed it, her grandfather or great-grandfather, Wyatt Earp. And what she has to do as this person with a big magic gun is kill the Revenants, who are the reincarnated demons of the people Wyatt Earp ostensibly killed way back in the day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Frankly, I would be like,
sure.
Grandpa, why don't you do a better job killing these assholes?
I thought you were good at killing. Like, people are so mad at you. Like, I don't, it was,
Also present is Doc Holliday, cursed with immortality, also played by Mutt from Schitt's Creek, who Andy didn't recognize, but he's Mutt from Schitt's Creek.
But Wynonna is...
Mrs. McMurray.
I'm out. Smash the gas 2017.
Goddamn G&T. Give me a G&T. The best goddamn G&T.
She's so talented and is so good on Letterkenny, and no one is good on Wynonna Earp.
It was very disappointing.
And it's a
Badwatch.
It's a Badwatch. It's been renewed for a 4th season. They just announced at Comic-Con. That's the world we live in, ladies and gentlemen. But... Yeah. We open on Doc Holliday, immortal, and Wynonna Earp's younger sister, Waverly. And there's a third sister who Wynonna killed at the end of season 1. And I assume her name is Whitney. And Waverly has something going on where her eyes turn all black.
And they keep they show it that it's happening, and then they keep showing it like, hey guys, in case you forgot, within this 40-minute episode, she's still got bad things happening. Like, over and over, they keep showing us, like, why? So I got it. I understand. Like, I'm still awake, sadly.
Yep.
But so they are running. They open with them running.
And it's like a Slugman zombie.
But my first thing is they look back and there's nothing chasing them.
This is true.
I'm so confused.
They look back and like they're on like this road that's like kind of curvy, but you can very clearly see for like
a bit,
a few hundred feet behind them. There's nothing
like
following them.
I don't know if someone forgot to like CGI someone in, or they just like didn't like have the shot. They're like, whatever, we're gonna roll with it.
Time.
But I was just like, I was like, there's no one there. Like, so we also watched this with my young daughter who did get frightened at one moment. She just came over for a hug, but I was like, I'm not.
Otherwise, Vivian was so bored she spent the entire 42 minutes of this program bothering the cat, which You know, I can't say I blame her. So
Yeah. Oh man.
But they're running from a slugman zombie revenant.
It's got no eyes, but is following them. It doesn't appear to have a nose. It's just chasing them, and like it did, like it knows where they are, but it like bit Doc's hat, which he was upset about, and they were like had a line for comedic effect there.
Well, throughout the episode, they're like, "You look bald without your hat, Doc," and he's like, "Brr. I have a mustache."
Yeah, and he tries to tip his hat like he forgot. Like in these gunfights, he tries to tip it at one point. It was just like, really? Is that?
Yes. But who shows up out of the wilderness but Wynonna to save her sister? She hits the zombie revenant thing with a big stick.
This giant revenant thing is flying through the air, and she hits it with like a piece of wood, and it goes flying. So it's like she's godlike so strong.
And rather, she could have just shot it from the jump, but no, she's like, let me cut down this tree, cut off all the branches.
I gotta do a little whittling.
Okay,
I gotta get my whittling.
This explains why Doc and Waverly were running, because Wynonna was a little tied up.
Not ready, guys. But then just do a circle. Do a loop.
She gets out her gun, appropriately named Peacemaker, and it's the dumbest, biggest looking pistol I've ever seen. If any of you watch Monster Factory and you're familiar with Dr. Sex Gun, we're talking Dr. Sex Gun levels of ridiculous with the size
large.
of this.
And then like the barrel glows with runes, and it when it's the demon's dead.
And after you kill someone, you hear Wyatt Earp say, "Good job, kiddo." I'm just kidding, but that would be really cool, wouldn't it?
I would. Okay, I don't know about cool, but it would be really amusing for the character. Like, where is that coming from? What? How?
And of course, Wyatt Earp would be voiced by Sam Elliott.
Yeah, no, for sure. That's the only option.
Obviously.
But then it's just in the back. It's just like, what? Where is that? Is it from the gun? I don't.
It's from the wind.
Damn you, wind.
Then, of course, in case you're wondering, there's little doubt as you recognize that this is a SyFy original, of course, based on a comic book graphic novel series. I got into an argument with someone recently. They said that graphic novels were different than comics. I was like, no, graphic novels are what people call comics when they're literary snobs. Yeah. She goes, well, that's why I call them graphic novels. Like, well, you're wrong. But anyway.
They're just, I would, the only thing I would say to that is like, they're usually like slightly longer comics.
It's usually like a collected book. Anyway, I digress. You can probably buy comics and graphic novels of Wynonna Earp. Now, she goes in to talk to the sheriff, and everyone in town is mad at her because they had to blame something on her that happened in season 1. I was not clear what that was.
Yeah.
Maybe it was,
but it was just sort of
the death
weird.
of Whitney. Because she did kill Whitney, so I don't know why she's bitching about them blaming that on her.
But they're talking, and the implication comes through that the government is is using these demons. And it was like,
yeah, there's this thing called Black Badge. They're like the baddies.
And but they're like they're like using the demons for something. It's like, okay, well, obviously, big government is bad. I guess that's where we're going with this.
They're Black Badge is working with. They're somehow tied in with the governor. Is that correct? Is that the woman?
I think everyone's part of this conspiracy. Sure. Basically, is what they were going.
Everyone except the Earps and Doc Holliday, and a man named Dolls. He is a one man named after many dolls. I looked online, and his name is in fact spelled Dolls. So.
Well, wait, what? No. It was no, for sure. It's Dawles, right? That's Dolls. That's. Or
there are so many other ways they could have spelled it. Instead, they're like, no, he's multiple dolls in one name.
It's not even... Oh, I'm so disappointed and glad I didn't bother to look that up because that made me angrier.
Yeah.
Dolls,
so,
really?
That's something I learned today.
Okay.
Wynonna's talking to the sheriff, and she says, is everyone still mad at me over that thing or person I killed?
Well, like a
or
reporter is
did?
talking to the sheriff, and like he's
asking if Wynonna will be charged, and then that woman turns around and sees Wynonna looking. She looked super drunk in this scene, and maybe the whole show.
And I know that actress because in Letterkenny she plays like she's stuck on gins and tonic.
She plays a lush.
Yeah, but she doesn't actually drink at all in real life, and so I was like, "What are you doing?"
And I also know, because I was doing some deep Googling today, I know she was pregnant during all of the filming for season 2, so she definitely was not drinking IRL. But Wynonna, it's a different story. But she's talking to the sheriff, and he says, you know what, Wynonna, you're not the hero everyone wants, but you're the hero everyone needs. And it's like, are they blatantly ripping off The Dark Knight? Yes. Yeah. Yes, they are.
I think they made a comment about that at that, like she was like, or something. They comment about that movie, but I think, but like it still made me like we were both looking at each other when that happened.
They're gonna run me out on a rail like Batman in The Dark Knight. And that would have, if they had like hung a lantern on it, that would have been hysterical.
I think they might have actually, but we were both too busy.
It was a
looking
dim
at each other.
lantern. It was a poor lantern.
Yeah, they said that. Both. I just looked at each other like, what? Did they really?
Yep. Then she goes to track down this doll man. Again, the one black character in this program.
Yes.
You can do better, SyFy. But he's some sort of agent who works with Wynonna, and it was unclear to me if he was always on their side or if he like joined their side and used to work with Black Badge.
I think he still worked for Black Badge, but
he was like a mole
sort of thing.
They like him, and the whole episode was driven around trying to save dolls.
Yeah, and like the
man, not the toys.
Yeah, I have his name. I wrote it down as DAWES. I'm mad.
See, I wrote it down as DAHLES.
Okay,
another valid choice. Ladies and gentlemen, few things annoy me like unnecessary spelling mistakes.
So this is now Wynonna Earp the doll episode.
Wynonna Earp in the Valley of the Dolls. But she's looking for dolls. I'm not clear why, but he's missing.
He's missing. Yeah, he's been gone.
And she goes into his hotel room, which I think is unlocked. And
she picks.
She picks it with like a dental cleaning tool.
She picks the lock with one hand because she's on the phone with the other hand. And I was like, "What? What is happening right now?" So she goes in, and this is a thoroughly insane scene. So she walks in and she's searching the room, and then I think. Was it the bathroom?
Yes.
Okay, that sort of makes a slight bit more sense, but still not really at all.
But also, it's your generic hotel room where there's a bathroom, 2 beds, like a thing with a TV on it. Yeah. Like every hotel room you've ever stayed in. Yeah. And then this blonde woman bursts out of the bathroom.
She's in her lingerie.
And Wynonna has just seen some other lingerie laid out on the bed.
It's very strange.
It's very weird.
They were like, I think there was like a bunch of different ideas that went into this, and then people were like, let's just do them all. We'll do them all. And the setup doesn't make sense.
These two, Wynonna and the blonde woman, fight. And then they realize, oh, we're on the same side. But it's very much like a softcore porno pillow fight sort of scenario.
Yeah.
And where they talk about, and like later they...
Well, like, they're like, she's like, I had 2 brothers or something like that, and
Wynonna's like, I've got a gun.
Yeah, she's like, I've got like this huge gun. She's like, I had 4 brothers, and she smashes her with a lamp.
Yeah.
And it's sort of like, and then she's like, wait, and they figure out they're on the same side, and then she's like, well, you have excellent taste in lingerie, and it's like underwear, and it's like,
and it's really gross. But you later learn like she and Doll Man were hooking up, I think, and actually shared that hotel room.
No,
or they're just coworkers.
See, that's the thing. That's the thing that's really weird about the whole fact that she's naked, or semi-naked,
just like
in her
hanging
bathroom.
out.
She says later, I had my own room. I just wanted to see you squirm. So my question is, so you wore lingerie, you were wearing only lingerie, bringing other set of lingerie, you leave your room, go into Doll's room to take a shower, maybe because, I don't know, water pressure doesn't work in the same hotel. It was so strange. Especially after she goes, I had my own hotel room, it's like, then what?
It's very gratuitous, almost nudity.
It didn't make any sense.
But then, so after there's this fake lesbian scene, SyFy's like, we got you! Because who is in the next scene but Waverly and her girlfriend, local EMT or police officer?
I think so, something like that.
Yeah, she works for the local constabulary, let's say. Mm-hmm. And they are dating, and Doc Holliday is there. He's like, I can't die! Shit!
And my hat! My hat again!
My hat is gone!
Most of his lines are about his hat.
Most of his lines are about his...
and hat regrets.
And people talking about his mustache.
Yeah.
Which it is you can tell he spent some time. I don't think it's fake. I think Mutt actually grew that big-ass mustache.
That beautiful monstrosity.
Well, his next role, he's auditioning for Poirot. My mustaches. Then I have in my notes, looking for black man hit with cattle prod, who is Dolls.
Yeah, they have him chained up, and his eyes are going yellow.
He's been taken hostage by Black Badge. His eyes are turning yellow because, as Doc Holliday tells us later, Dolls is a good man. but he's not even a man.
Yeah, and he's got like a shot for him or something.
He has like, apparently Doc Holliday's been treating this person with like werewolf serum or something.
I don't know.
Like his entire time in Purgatory Town.
But apparently Black Badge made them that way. Him and the blonde chick.
Him and Blondie are the same.
Yeah.
They're both like demons in disguise.
Sort of.
Sort
but
of
not like Wynonna's sister. They do, they're like, let's keep, so we want to keep the CGI budget real low, right? So what we'll do is we'll just put glow on people's eyes if we want people to know that they can do things.
Big messy contacts.
So they're in the facility, and I was like, I don't know if this frustrated you, but like they were doing all these like what's that called when they cut the angle to the side to be like things are awry here, and like
they turn the camera
unnecessarily.
There's probably a name for that.
I think there's a term for it, and it's just like they did that a bunch, and that was just I was like, why?
I think they were like, well, this dialogue is shit, so we have to make people feel uneasy somehow, and then like, how about we just make people feel motion sick? Yeah, that's good.
So they kept doing that. Also, they loved blue lighting. Everything was blue.
And this was hilarious because Dolls is locked up in a cage, and the governor woman working with Black Badge is standing outside just casually eating Chinese food from a Chinese food takeout container. It was the funniest thing.
So strange.
What an interesting character choice for that actor.
I want some in my hands. I want some. Do you have leftovers?
Where's my vape rig? Give me that Chinese food.
Oh my god! Oh, if she'd been vaping,
wouldn't that have been amazing?
My brain would have exploded. Oh my god! That would have just been. I would just been yelling, "We get it! You vape the entire time."
Like clearly, this woman, she vapes. Just like some people fuck.
Dolls,
this woman vapes.
Oh my god! Dolls could have been yelling, "We get it! You vape the entire time."
It was so silly.
Yes, it was so strange.
But she's, I don't know, monologuing, and
he got her monologuing,
but he doesn't take advantage, even though he got her monologuing. Oh boy. Then there's Devourer of Souls. Well, okay, so they sneak in.
Oh yeah, she's mad. It is explained why she is so mad at Dolls, because you left my husband to die, and it just felt so weird. So she says that as she's holding this Chinese takeout, like
she's
weirdly,
really broken up about it, but still hungry.
I mean, you got to get your carbs,
And so she couldn't vape.
She's still holding it's a smoke-free facility for the government. But she's they cut to her, and she's snarling. She's real pissed. You left my husband to die, and like in the lower bottom of the frame, you can see the takeout, and it's just like a jar. Like, why do you have takeout food there? I don't.
It's really silly.
And then he explains, like, your husband told me to leave, and she's like, I'll still kill you. I don't care.
Yeah, I'm a bitch with Chinese food.
It was just weird.
Then, so Wynonna, Waverly, Doc Holliday, and Waverly's girlfriend, they go to the Black Badge site to free Dolls. And I'm realizing now that there's very little plot in this episode. Like, we're already halfway through.
Yeah.
This is so silly.
We both at the end of this were like, I was like, I know things happened that I think things definitely happened that advanced the plot, but it felt like nothing happened.
Well, part of that, okay, I'm jumping a little bit ahead, but they go into this facility to rescue Dolls, which Doc Holliday does get him out of the Chinese food cage, but then Doc Holliday gets held up by some guards, and he just tells Dolls, like, go, get out of here.
Yeah.
So they spend all this time trying to get him out, and then Dolls basically just escapes.
Yeah, and then,
so it's sort of like the classic Indiana Jones problem, where like if Indiana Jones had done nothing, that first movie would end exactly the same way.
Yep. It's ridiculous.
So I think that's largely why it feels like nothing happened. But they go to the facility. Wynonna and Doc are trying to sneak in, and Waverly puts on glasses and uses a weird British accent.
Blonde lady sneaks in too, though.
Blonde lady's with them. This is
so ridiculous.
That's right.
So they're all going to free Dawes and Sorry, not Dawes. Dolls. And so they break in because they bring a smelly truck, and like the guard is like, well, just go. I can't be bothered to look. And Waverly, instead of like marching in with them with a fake tag like they have, she finds a handy dandy ventilation shaft which leads from the garage they park in directly into where they are, like in a hallway.
Yeah. And she has a suitcase with her the whole time. And a change of clothes because
she just like hops out of like a giant ventilation shaft and just like it was just like wait what?
Yeah,
I don't.
It's a huge man-sized ventilation shaft.
Strange.
she jumps out and she's like, I'm Plan B.
Yeah.
And then she walks into this lab toting a suitcase and says,
that's Waverly,
I'm here from...
not the Blondie who was talking about.
Oh, yeah, Blondie sneaks in. Waverly goes up to...
Waverly, yeah.
Goes in with a suitcase and change of clothes. Sorry, everyone's blurring together.
Mm-hmm.
She goes into the lab and she's like, I have a demon delivery from Scotland Yard. And the boy's like, what? There's literally a lab boy. He's just like hanging out.
Well, yeah. First, she charms her way through the security guard, who like does the most cursory level of whateverness.
You're here from Scotland Yard, and she goes, "Why, yes." And he's like, "Okay, yeah, all checks
He's like,
now."
"It's not on the schedule, but fine, whatever."
Yeah,
and you're bringing a demon? Seems legit.
Yeah, standard SOP.
Oh, like I'm so curious about the demon metaphysics. Like, why do some of them have black eyes? Why do some of them have yellow eyes? Why do some of them fit inside suitcases? Are they like Pokemon?
You gotta catch them all.
Are there different levels of suitcase that you can go to the demon center and buy? Because some Pokemon require different suitcases.
Well,
Demons.
different. Well, and the suitcases are different colors based on the gym you're going to.
And you get badges. Okay, Wynonna I think does have a badge probably.
Actually, is it bad that I want a demon Pokemon thing to happen now?
I think you're thinking of Gengar, Ghastly.
Well, I just want all of the. I just want Pokemon to combine with this, and them to be catching demons.
Turns out Revenants were Pokemon the whole time. Spoiler alert!
Revenant. That's all they say.
Revenant, go! Revenant. Then there's that corny battle music playing. Oh, we digress. So they're in the facility. Blonde woman sneaks in. Waverly walks into the lab room where there's just demons casually locked up. One of them looks exactly like the Slugman zombie they killed at the beginning.
Well, when she goes, I brought this demon, and she's like, oh, you already have one. And so then she's like trying to squeeze the brown tech guy for information.
The one other person of color. She at one point she's trying to get the jump on him and hits him on the head, and he starts bleeding but is not knocked down or unconscious.
Which is kind of what would normally happen in real life.
Yeah,
so I was like A+ for that.
And then he says, "You can't bleed in here." And then the Slugman demon zombie just bursts out of its glass case.
Because that was apparently very porous and let all the blood sent right through. I don't really get that.
If blood is that big of an issue, you think they would have like some sort of sterility measures set up.
Or they would have actually had, this is my thing. Why don't you just make a cage that can contain it?
Because it's not as if he's bleeding so profusely. The mere sight of blood sends this revenant blasting.
But I don't think it has eyes, so it sort of makes.
That's the other thing. I don't think it has eyes.
But then they are like now running from the demon. They go behind the door that just swings open. Don't really even lock it. They just squat on the other side. So this thing, which doesn't have eyes, so it's sniffing, apparently is befuddled by this change of pace and loses their sense.
It's a classic, you push and it's a pull. It's like that Far Side cartoon.
It's real bad. Like it is not a Velociraptor. It does not understand doors.
It's the dumbest thing. It's like if this was all you were gonna do by having the Revenant break out of the cage, you should have just left the Revenant in the cage. Show writers.
She could have just convinced him to help her because he's now with them for the rest of the.
Yeah, he has to like sign this thing in his own blood.
Yeah.
Like what? It's fucked up.
Like
you guys.
He's totally involved now. I don't even understand.
Then, meanwhile, back at the ranch, Wynonna, Doc Holliday, and Blondie.
But for anyone who is listening, it's not actually at the ranch. They are still in the facility.
That's an expression.
I just want to make sure.
And it's funny because it's cowboys.
Yeah, I want to make sure people are like, wait, what ranch? I'm trying to help the listener.
Meanwhile, in the stairwell, Wynonna, Doc Holliday, and Blondie, they're trapped in a stairwell because somehow Black Badge was alerted that they were on the site.
Yeah. So she was trying to get the tech guy to unlock the doors. There you go. That's why the whole... Yeah.
That's why she was trying to, like, bribe / seduce brown
break
tech
his
guy,
head open. Yeah.
/ kill him.
Yeah.
It was very confused. But they eventually get out. Well, the doorway at the bottom of the stairs opens, and then Doc goes through and closes the door behind him because he's a betrayer. I don't really remember why he does this. I think ostensibly he was like, "You've come far enough, Wynonna." And then he goes
he was like, "I got this." It was sort of a
it's
noble...
my turn now.
Yeah, it was a sort of a noble...
It's a really bad version of that scene in Wonder Woman that made me cry, where Chris Pine is like, "You save today," and then he dies. Spoiler alert. If you haven't seen Wonder Woman. Oh god, I wept in the theater when I saw that. Anyway,
did?
I did. It really got to me, man. Anywho,
Okay.
so he pulls one of those. He goes and frees Dolls, but again, Dolls just is able to run away.
Yeah.
Because Doc Holliday gets stopped by some guards or whatever the fuck. Then eventually Wynonna does get out of the stairwell.
But they all get trapped together.
And they're all trapped together, but then she has to kill the Slugman zombie again. Like, what's the point of Peacemaker if you have to kill everything twice?
Well, it was his brother who was angry.
I swear it's the exact same.
So they kill that, and then the bad lady catches them, and then they
bad
have a
governor
discussion.
Chinese food lady.
Yeah, and she's mad at them, and she's like, "Oh, Dolls, where is he?" Oh.
And then there is a third person of color because the Chinese food lady's boss comes down, and he's a well-spoken African American gentleman.
Oh, I forgot
He's like,
about
well.
that.
You've messed up, and now you have to put your thumbprint in blood on this piece of parchment that is
so
legally
stupid.
and
Magically
morally
binding.
and and that's how it ends. They all get to go away.
Well, so no, they don't, because blonde chick is there and mad, and she's like, so this is my favorite. I wrote this down because I was like, what? I don't. So they're like trading insults, and she goes, blonde chick to angry governor Chinese food lady she goes, "You're a dumpster fire," and then she gets shot in the head, and it was like, all right.
Yeah.
Also, I was like, you chose "you're a dumpster fire" as your last words. All right. It was so weird.
I really wish Andy was making any of that up. He's not. I'm sad to say. I kept referring to her as Uma Thurman because she looked like a shorter, less attractive version of Uma Thurman. All the heroes go home. Dolls is free.
So then, yeah, I just wrote down, I'm like, this is just weird. Dolls got away, but they don't even know that he got away really or what happened. He's just disappeared. They
Doc
have no
Holliday
idea.
Is pretty sure, but he's the only one.
Yeah, like no
He's
one
not
knows.
Even sure.
And then Wynonna's sister, who was like their getaway driver and was waiting in the car, is mad at Wynonna's sister's girlfriend, who was their getaway driver, is mad at Wynonna's sister because she didn't get forced at gunpoint to join Black Badge with them because they all signed up. That's what
she's
bloody
upset
print was.
because the stakes are not as high for her character, and probably she'll get killed off before the end of season 2.
It just felt so like whiny and petulant. She's like, "Well, I wanted to be part of things, so
I want to do everything."
It was
with
so
you.
strange.
It was really weird.
And she was like, "Well, I mean, they forced us at gunpoint, sort of." And she was like, I was like, "I don't."
You can live your life now. And then Waverly once more turns to the camera. Eyes go black.
Yeah, it was so strange. Again, I was like, "Okay, we still like nothing changed."
There was also a moment earlier when Waverly is with her cop girlfriend and she has an axe and her eyes go black, and you really think that she's about to chop her girlfriend's head off. Instead, she's just like opening a chest of drawers. Yeah. It's really dumb.
It was so like
But
it's weird.
Wynonna goes home. She gets into her childhood bed with a stuffed animal and cries. And then, from across the snow-laden fields,
God, this was insane.
There's a twinkle of light that catches her eye.
I'm sorry, and it keeps going for like it's like 10 seconds of this light in her eye. She's like, what?
Going.
What is this? What is this light?
Yes. So then she puts her boots back on, gets her whole big winter coat deal on because it's cold wherever Purgatory is. Hell is frozen over.
No, I knew you were going there, and I hate you a lot for that.
But she wanders out into like a football field away.
It is a ways away.
And it's this hanging from a tree. It's this necklace that
a mirror. It's a necklace with a key.
It's a necklace with a key on it that Wynonna was wearing and somehow fell off when they were at the Black Badge building. But who picked it up? Dolls.
And he's looking at her, and she looks at him.
He's like on top of this rock formation and looking down, and they're maybe 50 feet apart, but not speaking to each other.
Why would you talk?
And then they're just crying, and then they drift apart. And I'm assuming that they fucked.
I think
before.
I think they have. I was just, I was just like, wait, what? What's anyone? Bueller? like he looked at her. There's tears coming down his face, and that's it. I was like,
yep.
Okay.
No, normally this is the time for predictions, and I think we've already established that it's going to be a crossover with Pokemon.
That's my They're gonna merge with Pokemon. Season 3 is gonna be the Pokemon season.
Well, season 3's already happened. We could watch that right now on Netflix. Season 4 is the one they just announced.
Season 4 is when they
with Mrs. McMurray.
It would have been big news if they'd done
Big
Pokemon.
Doll Baby Man. Eternal Duck Holiday. I can't die. God,
Where's my hat?
I would have loved it so much if, like, that one dude in Lethal Weapon, he's like, I'm too old for this shit. And if he was just like, I can't die for shit. And now...
This is such a shame.
A break from... not a break. We're going to take a break, but it's time for a message from our sponsors.
Yes.
Are you a hunter struggling to eat all of the game from your last outing? Are you a poor millennial who never learned how to feed yourself? Bloody Fork is just what the hunter-gatherer ordered. We work with hunters to deliver their excess meat to idiots who can't go to the grocery store. It's classic win-win. Visit bloodyfork.com to get 1 month of free game delivery. Cat owners get 2 free months. bloodyfork.com/badwatch. Bloody Fork. Knives not included.
So they asked me for some slogans, and they didn't go with my personal favorite, which was Bloody Fork. It's a living and a killing.
I feel like that's lost opportunity.
Yeah.
Missed opportunity.
But, Goodwatch. Do you have one?
I do.
You do have one. Okay.
I do.
You can go first.
We talked about it because I
just remember.
Because we've both been watching this.
Yes.
And I burned through it immediately when it came out. So Amazon Prime just released The Boys.
In the boat. No, it's just The Boys.
They're just back in town. It's they just released The Boys. It's apparently a comic, or perhaps
much like Wynonna Earp.
Perhaps a graphic novel. I'm not sure.
Perhaps. And I would like to mention it is written by the same writer who created Preacher.
Yes.
And it has very much a similar sense of cynicism and irreverence.
Yes.
But you can keep going.
Yeah. It is. I have to recommend it. It's a ton of fun. I really, really enjoyed it. Evan, I think you're enjoying it as well.
Very much.
I've definitely burned through it. And there was actually a discussion on it in Reddit. There was then an AMA from the director, and he was discussing, like people asked, what was a scene that was cut that you wish had been in? And this made me so sad that it wasn't in there. So the story is superheroes who have superpowers, and they are corrupt.
All messed up, terrible human beings.
Which is what happens when you have supreme power. It sort of makes power corrupts that whole story. It's great. It's great. So the boys are a bunch of regular folk trying to stop them from being total jerks. One of the main heroes, the big one, Homelander, apparently in this scene, he's sort of like a sociopathic sort of guy, and he hasn't been raised by a family and is sort of just really messed up. And so they go ahead, and the scene they were going to have him do was, after he gets told off by his boss, he flies to the top of the skyscraper, in a skyscraper in New York City, and starts jacking off and just mumbling, I can do whatever I want. Because he can fly, and he has superpowers and laser vision.
Super cum.
Yeah,
Young, dumb, and full of cum, as they say in Point Break.
So the comments were all like... my next question then is, how much cum would have come out of him if he's a superhero?
Of course, that's the next question on Reddit.
Yeah, we need to know the volumes here. Is it super? But that would have just been the funniest scene, and just totally solidified that this guy's a train wreck. But it's really great to watch superheroes not being so super. And it's a great time.
I should mention trigger warning especially for the first episode.
Yep.
It's really dark, you guys.
Some sexual assault stuff.
This is not just all fun and games. It's real dark. But I do enjoy it very much. And I think the way they end up handling that incident from the first episode later in the season, I think they do a pretty good job.
Yeah.
I haven't finished the show yet, but
it's good. It's a good time. It is, but yeah, it is definitely dark. So it's weird. It
goes some places.
Yeah. But it's weird that they wouldn't let Amazon said no to him masturbating over the city of New York.
I think that is hugely fucked up.
But they were
Amazon's
okay with sexual assault being.
They were okay with sexual assault in the pilot episode, but in the second one, where the fuck up superhero wants to masturbate over New York City, that's off limits. Come on,
I guess they were drawing a line somewhere.
It's a fucked up line, man. My Good Watch. My Good Watch is a little film, also I think on Amazon Prime. At least that's where I watched it. Called First Reformed. It stars Ethan Hawke, Amanda Seyfried, which I guess she's like the top Mean Girl now. I remember thinking when I saw Mean Girls, I was like, well, that blonde, the lesser blonde one, the dumb blonde one. I was like, I don't think she's going anywhere. And she's like on top of the world.
She's been in a bunch of stuff.
Yeah. Lindsay Lohan, no idea. That brunette one, she was in a weird Christian Mingle film, I think.
Is that like
Rachel McAdams is doing fine, obviously.
Yeah.
everyone knows that. But Amanda Seyfried, and it's about this minister in a very small town in upstate New York, which for those of you not familiar, it's a pretty bleak place in the winter when this film is set. And he tries to counsel Amanda Seyfried's husband, who is feeling suicidal, and Amanda Seyfried is pregnant, and he's this environmental activist. And that's just like the first 5 minutes, and the screenplay was nominated for an Oscar, and I don't remember who won Best Actor that year, but I really wish Ethan Hawke had won. Like for years, I've sort of thought like people think Ethan Hawke is really talented, and I didn't quite get it. And then I saw this movie, and I was like, oh shit, Ethan Hawke is super talented. Oh. So I highly recommend it. It's by the writer-director of Taxi Driver, Paul Schrader.
Okay.
Which I have not seen, but everything I've read about both films indicates they're pretty different. So, yeah, check it out on Amazon Prime. But anyway, please leave us a nice review on iTunes.
Yeah, check it out.
It helps us.
This is our 18th episode. We've been doing this for a while now.
Oh, we're legal, baby!
I don't like what that implies at all. Like, what does that mean?
It sounded funnier in my head. You can find the show and links to all of our stuff at badwatchpod.com. You can follow me at Evan W. Stoner, and you can follow Andy on his way to work.
But you should not.
He's Andy.
That guy's Evan.
And this is Badwatch.
Yay!
Goodbye.
So long.
Farewell.
Auf Wiedersehen, good night.